All right, everybody, welcome to today's call. It is Friday, December the 6th of 2019, and this is the Realty Classroom Sales Training Call. Sorry I was a little bit late. Laura and I get excited about talking about our business, and we overindulge today. So here I am, and I know that some of you have sent me some stuff to look at. I know I have my gang from Metro City up in Ottawa on the phone who have all done a fabulous job bringing us their own evolution live. So proud of that gang up there for being willing to learn. And also Rebecca, who was on the call yesterday with me, grinding away out in Palo Alto where there's a lot of great competition. And she's doing a great job with Gail Rossetti, trying to crack the code out there. So I'm definitely going to listen to some of that stuff. So when I open up the calls, if you could be cognizant that it's noisy, if you're in a noisy spot, that would be great. And I know I'm in a little bit of a noisy one for a few minutes here, but let's get her rolling here, okay? So Rebecca, you're in here, right? I saw you early and often. Mike, you? Mike?
I'm here.
All right, good.
I'm here.
All right, Sarah Corey and the gang from Ottawa, let me know who's up there too.
Yeah, we're all here. It's me, Pat, and Dave, and our newest addition, Rawa.
Superb. Welcome. So Sarah, you're going to do this expired program up there exclusively, yeah? And you were listening to the stuff the other day, is that right? Did I hear that? Because I want to be able to deal with that today.
Yeah, so we watched a bit of the training video that you did. So Sarah and I are going to break it down, and I'm super excited to get it started. It's just a little bit different than what we're doing right now.
100%. So I will.
To try, yeah.
Good. I will help you get through that today, but let me just deal with Rebecca today first. But I want you ready for me because I'm going to come after that. And I want to talk about that because I think it's a great subject, Sarah, in general. You've been doing this a long time. I know what you've been taught to do, as was I. I call it cream skimming, meaning that when we pick up the phone and we're not clearly cognizant that we have something that's in it for them, we tend to be doing scripting and NLP technique and tactic, which is really about us, right? That's what we are. So I know that sounds like it's not, and we think we're doing something. So I'm going to deal with that. So hold on to that thought for me, and we're going to get right after it, okay? Rebecca, where you sent me the stuff, and did you pick a few? So you picked a few, right?
I did. I sent you the two
Good.
that I wanted. The email thread.
Got them. All right. Let me just make sure I can open this one up. They're in a zip file. So you might have to unload them for you. Let me see. I got to download it. Let me just see. Bear with me. I'm going to go right into it. Okay. I think I'm good. So I have
one I had problems with, and the other one I thought I did pretty good on.
Okay, good. So James is the first one I have open. Is that the one where you felt you had problems, or give me a little bit of a give us all a little bit of a background.
That one I thought I did pretty good on. It was the top end one that I was.
All right, what's your preference? You want to go the good one first, or you want to go the other one first? Laura, could you grab me a pen, please?
Yeah, let's start with the good one.
Okay, here we go. Ready? Off we go.
Hello, James. This is Rebecca with Realty. The reason why I'm calling is because I know she's doing something to sell, and we mailed you a package that will help you sell it when you list it again. Did you receive that package?
Yes, we did.
Oh, you did? Fantastic. What did you think of it? Do you have any questions?
No, not at this time because we're not sure we're going to put it back on the market. And when we make that decision, we'll definitely give it consideration.
Okay, fantastic. That's great. Do you mind if I give you a call back in a few months just to see where you're at?
That would be fine.
Thank you so much, James.
Thank you.
It's great talking to you, and we'll speak again later.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that was fine. That was fine. Okay. Now, this is where I was saying to you yesterday, it gets very subtle here, and we want to turn you loose. Okay? We want to turn you loose because you now don't really know much about him. He liked it. He's appreciative, but he is short with you. And that's why I'm glad we're getting something that's a little bit more difficult than the calls we listened to last week, which were easier, where people were more accommodating and, they played our game a little bit more. So now I get it. it's a fine balance between being too aggressive. Here I am telling, the gang in Ottawa, look, we're not going to be so overly aggressive with just asking, and we're going to try to get this package out the door. The problem is, if it gets too passive, we leave ourselves a little bit more confused. And this is what you and I were talking about. I want you to feel good about your future follow-up. Okay. That's not bad, but it's really nebulous. Do you mind if I call you in a few months' time? And also, there's no continuity of information going to him. There's this one package that goes. He appreciated it. You could tell. He had no questions because it's more about now his timing. This is what Tony Legendi was asking me. Are there any questions about timing, in the first role? Well, it's more subtle when we finish the job first. What did we find out? Did they read their mind aloud and tell us what their timing was? See, he starts to do it, right? He starts to tell you a little bit about, we're not sure we're going to sell it. Wonderful. How come you were selling it in the first place? See, now this becomes more so like, okay, all that solar, panel selling training that you were doing in the past. I want you to go deal with that, right? I want you to go turn that kind of training loose and be a little bit more aggressive. That makes sense?
Sure does.
Okay, because you left it nebulously there. So now this training for you in particular is much more about permission to be aggressive. In that case, it doesn't mean that there's nothing obnoxious. Change the relationship. He got it. He acknowledged it. And you could tell in the tone of his voice, or could you? Could you tell in the tone of his voice that he was appreciative or not?
Oh, yeah.
I thought so. I thought he sounded,
Yeah, he was
you go ahead.
warm. Yeah.
He was very warm. I mean, he's a short, quick to the point type of guy. The house worth.
That one was 2.5.
Yeah, okay. So these are big time, these are big time, right? So this is not small. So the idea here is that we're trying to pay attention to, all right, well, wait a minute. This is a sophisticated guy with a sophisticated house, and he got it, and he definitely used powerful words, will certainly give you consideration. That's intelligence speaking. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he sounds smart, and he sounds to the point, and he sounds all business, and that's great. While I'm talking to you, do you mind me asking how come you were selling it in the first time? In the first place, right? So don't be afraid to go there a little bit further. And if he cuts you off, then do what you did. Would it be okay to follow in the future so I can check on your timing? Wonderful. When do you think the best time for me to call you back would be? See, rather than setting it up so that you just call him, okay? Because if you just say, I'm just going to call you, and would it be okay if I call in a couple of months? Why? Why was the couple of months? See, you said it. Now you're backed into a corner with a couple of months, and that's not even right because it's not specific. You follow?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me your thoughts. You're too quiet for me. So go through this with me a little bit. What are you thinking? Think out loud with me.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is that, like you were saying, there's a fine balance between, being too aggressive and being just enough for them to feel supported properly, this particular one, I could tell from the beginning he really wanted to make the call short. I remember this particular call when I jumped in and said, do you mind if I call you in a couple months? I actually felt like I was kind of pushing it a little bit just by doing that, but he seemed to be okay with it. Like, basically that was me testing the waters to see what his response was going to be. And since it was positive, I was like, okay, he doesn't feel like I'm pushing too hard.
All right. I feel, hold on. I feel a very tentative, and this is what I was looking for. This is why I wanted your recorded calls, because there's a part of you that is self-sabotaging, as we've discussed, where you feel unsuccessful and you're not used to selling. And like I said, I was sort of joking, but I was, serious as well, is that, look, selling solar in California sounds like shooting fish in a barrel to me, right? I'm sure there's so many people that are energy conscious that they say yes regularly. Okay. because it seems to me like solar and California go together, I don't know, bread and butter. Okay. So to me, it sounds easy. Now you're into something where they don't know us. This is a large financial transaction. Many of the people in the areas you're calling are sophisticated people, intelligent, etc. Okay. But you sound intimidated by that suddenly to me. So it's not just that this is different. You sound intimidated. Okay. And this is what I was looking for. It's very subtle. Again, if I hadn't done so many. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you are right. I do feel a little intimidated, and it's because I feel like I've put my feet into water that I'm not familiar with. I'm still feeling it out and trying to know, okay, so now I'm standing in the water. What do I do?
I want you to try to make a mistake.
Swim?
I want you to try to make a mistake. Right. I want you to try to make a mistake. How about that? I want you to go to the other extreme. I want you to go to the other extreme.
The next call I did. The next call I did.
All right, good, but hold on. All right, but hold on. Hold on. Let me go there for a second. I got one call in front of me. I want to deal with it. I think you were way too tentative after he acknowledged this. But I also think experientially, you didn't know what to say. So that's fair. So when you ask somebody to push a little bit further, you better be specific with the advice as to how to do that correctly. I think what you need to do correctly in that moment in time is say, wonderful. I don't want to bother you, but I don't want to miss the opportunity, to get Gail over there because I told her about the property. She really would love to see it. Okay. But we don't want to be a pest. We don't miss the opportunity though either. So when would be a good time for me to call you back while you're making that decision? Right? Is there anything that we could help with? Did it have to do anything with values, or is it just personal? Talk to him like a human being in a way that's genuinely curious, so that you don't genuinely bother him. I know what you're worried about. I know why people are tentative. It's not just because they don't have the experience in this industry on the phone. It's also because we don't like to bother people, but you have to get beyond that. And yet you have to go there, because here's the worst thing that can happen for you. You end up developing a pipeline of people to follow up with where you're not really sure when you were supposed to call them. You're not really sure why they were moving. You don't know how long it will take to make that decision. And you weren't able to offer any kind of interim assistance. For example, hey, did you know that in that package, there were properties around you that had sold? Would you like me to have those coming to you while you're making the decision as they sell? See, it's a combination of being intimidated and not knowing what to say. So let me go back to systematic approach. Beat number one when you first call somebody is, hey, it's me from here. I'm calling you because I saw your beautiful house online and I noticed it didn't sell. So I wanted to send some information to you that will help you sell it the next time. May I do that? He said, yes, you sent the package. Calling back, hey, it's me again. Want to see that you got the information. Now, the question that you asked him, do you have any questions? Okay. It's a very easy out for somebody who's quick on the phone. So that's where experimentation can begin. You can test a different kind of follow-up question that perhaps provokes them into a deeper answer. Did you find it helpful? See what I'm saying? Is that you, Rebecca, choking? Who's that coughing?
No.
Okay. Somebody coughing. Can you just, somebody sick, and I get it. Can you just mute your mic? So the deal is, that's the idea here, is that we need to make sure that you just go a little bit deeper and get them to talk subtly. It doesn't mean aggressively. Just because he won't talk and he's short with you, that's intimidating you because you're simply not thinking through this with me yet, and you are now today, to say, did you find it helpful? Yes, I did. What part of it was most helpful to you? Did anything really, ring like we needed to do? Explain it further. There are other types of questions that I'm going to leave that to you, though. Okay. Because if we get too weird and scripted at this point, you've done everything I want scripted. May I send this out to you? Yes, you may. Hey, it's me again. Did you get it? Yes. Wonderful. You've hit both beats that are important when it comes to this type of marketing and follow-up that we're doing. It's this guidance, right? So you have to test and experiment what makes you feel comfortable but provokes them into reading their mind aloud. Understood?
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
So test it. All right. So let's go into this, but stop being intimidated. I'd rather you make a mistake than not make a mistake, right? I mean, you did nothing wrong other than perfectly execute the first two beats of this. But then when you got to the next point, now it's like, where is he? Like, in other words, what did you do with this guy next? I assume he's in Infusionsoft or top producer, something that Gail uses. Yes.
I put him on the calendar for 2 months out, and I put a note that basically describes the call so that I could remember our conversation.
Yeah.
That he likes, that he got the package, and that he was a warm conversation.
Okay. Okay. 2 months out is
that he was unsure.
Yeah, 2 months out. Okay, so you get the notes. You're 2 months out. I was more interested in the timing. So 60 days is going to go by. It's a long time. A lot changes. I recommend you also put together a handwritten note that says, thank you so much for your time on the call the other day. I've made a note for myself to call you 2 months out. If anything changes in the interim and we can be of service, we'd love to do so. And if at any time you'd like Gail to stop by and give you some insight, we'd be happy to set that up. I'd write a note because that's sort of the gap that you left. So close it with a note. Personalize this relationship. Go further, right? Backtrack a little bit.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
And in fact, what we've done is we've started to look at that ourselves, where we take the package that we're sending. And when Autumn actually makes contact with people, in addition to the copywritten letter that explains the package, explains, the recent sales, it explains the 7 steps, it explains the market update, she adds a personal note on top with a personal signature, so that everything doesn't feel like it's just materials. There's now relationship. So since he treated you with relationship, meaning respect, I drop a handwritten note. Just make sure, again, I recommend to everybody in sales, when you're writing something personally, if your writing stinks, type it and hand sign it. But make sure all your grammar is correct. We don't want to send something to sophisticated people, or anybody for that matter, and have a whole bunch of typos and poor grammar. So if you don't write well, type it up first, have Gail review it, but personally sign it and mail it, right?
Perfect.
Yeah, good. All right, let's go to this next one here. So that was one that you thought you did well, and this was one you had some trouble on. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, here we go. Let's take a listen. Hang on to open it. All right, here we go.
Hello. Roxanne. This is Rebecca with Realty. And the reason I'm calling is because we knew your beautiful home didn't sell, and we mailed you a package and we'll help you sell it next time you list it again. Did you receive that package?
Could you spell over again, please?
Okay, my name's Rebecca. I'm with Realty Group, and the reason I'm calling is because we noticed your home didn't sell. So
Which
we
one?
mailed you a package of here 21851 via Regina, Saratoga.
Yeah. Here, the they want to know how to do a package regarding to the sale of your house and do a review. Oh, they sent a package. Are you the real estate?
Yes.
Is this the one who's handling the sale?
So we are a real estate.
But yeah, are you the one handling the sale?
I personally am not. I'm representing the broker and agent for Rosetta Realty. I'm doing a follow-up call to find out if you received the information we were sending you. Helping
right now, can you call back around 4 o'clock? The lady who's in charge. No, just a minute. This is the real estate company who's handling the sale of Via Regina, and they want to make sure you receive the package. Here's the lady, talk to her, just for a minute. Yes.
Hello. Hello?
What do you need?
Hello, is this Mr. Deere?
What do you need?
Hi, this is Rebecca with Realty Group. I'm just following up to find out if you received the package we mailed you regarding your home on 21851 via Regina, Saratoga 950.
All right, hold on. I gotta stop this for a second. First of all, if anybody's having trouble just hearing this, when Mojo records it, this isn't the actual quality of the line. I came to realize that in this case, it's recorded on a system that distorts it. So I'll stop it there because it's a longer call and break it down a little bit so far. Again, I think with time you'll smooth this out. But it's like you still sound unsure of yourself. Just speak to these people like you speak, right? Don't be so white knuckled trying to say it exactly right. And in the second round, you're beyond repeating the whole like address. You know what I mean? That's where I can feel this insecurity, this uncertainty welling itself up. And the first thing I was asking myself throughout this, did you speak to somebody at this household prior to this follow-up call, yes or no?
No, I did not.
Okay.
So the person that got on the line the second time was the actual owner, and I think it was the brother who answered the phone call.
Okay, well, hold on, but hold on. Don't go too fast on me. Who spoke to these people?
I was the first person to speak to them. This was the first call with them, but we'd already mailed out the package like a month prior.
Okay, then there's a huge disconnection here. You know what I mean? You're actually making a follow-up call to a package that was blindly sent, which sometimes works and helps them do that. These days, it's our plan B. Our plan A is as these things begin to happen, no matter what the context, probate, FSBO, et cetera, our first inclination is to call them, to find out, to let them know we know their situation, and could we get permission to send them something that would be helpful to them. So to set yourself up for continuous success, you and Gail need to sit down and recognize, and I know you just started 3 months ago, so you're trying to catch up like Autumn was when we first started. This is for anybody. You're trying to catch up to the bus that's already rolling, right? The point is, this is sort of the wrong type of call because you're acting as if there's familiarity. Right? And they're bewildered themselves. It's 30 days ago that a package was sent. It's a long time. It could have hit the circular file right next to, to the kitchen sink, meaning in the trash quickly. We don't know. Hi, is this, and again, if we can identify the owner. Hi, is Mr. Dare there? Okay. Who's this? This is Rebecca from Rossetti Realty calling because we sent him some information about his house and I want to make sure he received it. Be clear. Again, I think the problem with everybody that's over-scripted is nobody's taking a beat to think, right? Everybody's just sitting down and they're chopping wood. By the way, this is a global pandemic in real estate and small business in general. Nobody gets up above each situation to be strategic, to think, even in the moment of one call, am I approaching this strategically? Do I, number one, know exactly what address I'm calling? Do I know exactly who the owners are? Do I have this information in front of me? Am I properly and strategically prepared to even make this individual call tactically? Follow me?
Yeah, totally.
And what is this? And what is the situation? Did we send something? How long ago did we send it? You never referenced that. So now these people are trying to figure out who are you? Whereas in the other call, it was clear. You follow me? Because you, in the first call, did you make the call to him originally and get the permission to market? Did you do that?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So who did and how long before that?
It was a similar situation, maybe 2 or 3 weeks previous. I'd been attempting to reach him, but this was the first time that James, for that first call, had picked up the phone. Had you ever left a message while you were trying to get him the first 3 weeks? I'm asking these questions. Yes. Here's why. Here's why. This is not just about phone calls. I want to make that clear to everybody that's listening anywhere. Okay. This is not just about your technique on a phone call. I am a huge believer that without an overall strategic approach, you are nowhere and you struggle. And I'm not going to give you a fix. That's a phone fix. I'm going to give you a strategic fix. So what I'm doing is diagnosing the fact that both of these people, you were not the initial caller. So you do not have any kind of even slight relationship.
You are a blind caller. You must recognize that. In spite of the fact that Rossetti Realty has sent this information, because remember, the way that we did this, we evolved it from a direct mail program to add a layer of telemarketing, which I think is absolutely critical. So the preference is that a call is made, an identification is made, an offer is made, permission is granted, a package is delivered, and permission to follow up to make sure the package arrives is there. That's in its most perfect form, the way that we know it to work. That's it. So anything that deviates from that, we have to make a strategic adjustment before we make a tactical adjustment. See, it's easy to sit here and coach a tactical adjustment about phone work, but not without properly setting strategy. You need a new strategy for people that didn't answer the phone. And especially if you've never left them a message. Hi, this is Rebecca from Rossetti Realty. The reason I'm calling is we saw your beautiful house online and we noticed it didn't sell. So we're going to send you out a package that will help you sell it the next time. And I'll be calling you to make sure you got it. There's your message that's consistent with the fact that they pick it up. Now there's no permission, so it's a little slightly less effective because they haven't granted you permission to do so. You just took it. It's called direct mail marketing. Nothing wrong with it at all. In fact, because the information is consistently helpful, it's just a step below how good permission marketing is. Look, I don't think anybody would ever argue that if somebody says, yes, you can send me your marketing materials that's helpful, that are helpful to me. Wonderful, send them. That's the highest level of a yes as we begin a relationship, in my estimation. And I mean that from a practical standpoint. Those people like us the best. But if I take that, liberty and I send it without the permission, it's still good if it's helpful, because most people aren't doing that. They're not giving anybody a strategic approach to review why their house didn't sell, what to do in a probate, how to sell them their house by themselves, how to evaluate it from an over-the-net evaluation, right? Nobody's really doing that well. So you have to understand that context. Now, strategically, your adjustment is simple, right? And your scripting is similar, but just a slight difference. But you can hear it in this call. Everybody's lost because you don't approach it with that strategic adjustment, which you will do now. So anytime a package goes out and you haven't done it, the best next step down would be you left a message, said who you were, why you were calling, and what you were sending, and that you'll be calling to make sure that they got it. That's the next step down from full permission. What leaves you in the lurches is when you just call cold on the back of a mailer. Okay? Because you're not identifying that. So in that case, where you haven't left a message and you're calling these folks cold about a package that's 3, 4, maybe 5 weeks ago, you better start over again. Hey, Rebecca, Danny Griffin calling from Griffin Realty Group. The reason I'm calling is about a month ago, we sent you out a package that'll help you sell your house because we noticed it online and we noticed it didn't sell. Okay? Again, that's the essence of it. Let me go back and say it the right way. Hey, Rebecca, it's Danny Griffin calling from Griffin Realty Group. We saw your beautiful house online, and we noticed about 4 weeks ago that it didn't sell, so we took the liberty of sending you a package that'll help you sell it the next time. Did you receive that? Now you give them the context. Now, here in this call, there's something that happens very regularly. There's a language barrier, okay? And there's a pacing barrier, and there's a lot of chaos in the house barrier. There's all sorts of things being thrown at you. Think about a snowball fight. You're just trying to walk towards the house and they keep throwing snowballs at you. Well, some of that problem we caused because we didn't set this call up correctly. Going all the way back to being prepared correctly, who owns this place? You didn't ask for the person necessarily that is on your list as the owner, or did you? Consciously. Intentionally.
I did. Yeah, I did. I asked for his name, Mr. I forget his last name, but I said, is this Mr. So-and-so?
Mr. Dare. Yeah, D-E-R.
He didn't, the guy who answered the phone didn't say he was or wasn't.
Yeah, because it just, there's a lot of chaos. I get it. Let's listen to a little bit more of it, but you got my strategic adjustment, I hope, yes?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and this is where you and Gail need to be on the same page too. If you are going to send packages before, the longer the gap between when you sent it, the more important it is you reestablish who you are and why you're calling and what you already sent. In fact, if it goes too long from the mailing date to when you get them, I am suggesting to leave the message. The same thing that you would say, but you're not asking permission because you've already taken the liberty to send it. But I would absolutely leave a message to that effect because it sets up a better call when you get them. And you might even get a call back. Okay? So let's listen to a little bit more.
I started doing that a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started doing that a couple weeks ago, leaving messages.
Yes, but
saying when I'm going to call back too.
But the right kind of messages. They have to be the right kind of messages. Okay? Because I want you to be consistent with this. Let this be my fault if it doesn't work. Don't make up messages. Hi, Mr. Deere. This is Rebecca calling from Rossetti Realty. The reason I'm calling is because about 4 weeks ago, we noticed your beautiful house online and noticed it didn't sell. So we took the liberty of sending you out a package of information that will help you sell it the next time. I'll be calling you again to make sure that you received it. Feel free to call me back if you prefer it. Blah, 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 blah. Boom. Like, I'm not going away, Mr. Dare. I sent you something. I'm coming. I need to know that you got it. That's my job. It's helpful. I'm not asking for anything, Mr. Dare. I just want to make sure you got it. Follow me? It's very simple. You stay.
That's great.
Stay to the yellow brick system. Don't get all weird and, human discretion and making stuff up. We lay this out for you to be perfectly helpful to somebody, to take the pressure off of you for having to use some bizarre technique and tactic to fight through all this noise, okay? All right, so let's just leave it at that, and I'm going to move on to the next thing. But I think you're doing great, and I'm digging in because I think you're great at this. But see, what's exacerbating or increasing your insecurity is that you're flowing a little bit outside of an understanding of this system to be helpful. Don't do that. You don't need to do this on muscle. You need to stay inside the guardrails of the system of what we're doing. Let it be the system's fault. Make these strategic adjustments and be a little bit better prepared every single call. Take a beat. Who am I calling? And I get it. Sometimes in a dialer, if we're using a dialer, they're coming at us rapidly. I understand that, as a challenge. But it's still like, take that beat and understand who we're calling and be ready. And then trust yourself. If it goes outside the guardrails a little bit into the forest or into the poppy fields with Dorothy, like I like to say, be you. Just be you. Don't get all weird and trying to script it. Just be you. Just listen to him. What's he saying? Right? Is he all over the place? No. Mr. Deere, I was just calling you to see if you got a package. That's all. Did you notice anything in the mail from Rossetti Realty? Instead of going, well, I sent you a package at 21587. Sounds weird. You don't talk to me like that. Don't talk to him like that. Right?
Right.
Cool.
Thank you so much, Danny. I appreciate the time.
You're welcome.
And the advice.
Yeah. Well, thank you for going out of your way to get these recordings because you can see the difference. When you hear live calls, we're not making up theory here. We're actually dealing with real adjustments, with real situations. You had a good short one to begin with. You had a chaotic one the second time. So we'll move off of it because you got the point. So keep sending them to me so people on this group can hear the evolution and the validity of what we think works. And I need to be validated that it does because I need to hear it on the other side. Okay? Cool. Good work, Rebecca. Proud of you. Yep. And keep the confidence up. All right. Sarah, you still with me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Awesome. So you have been around this business for a very long time. You have been given scripting that bursts itself out of more so pressure, appointment. You've gotten away with it in Ottawa for a very long time because people are nice to each other, a lot nicer than Anida and I joke they are in the Northeast. So my question to you is, when you heard this approach for the first time this week, there seemed to be, according to Sarah Corey, some excitement about it. Why? What did you hear? What did you see?
Yeah, so we went through the video. I just got a light bulb just kind of went off. There's so many little pieces of the whole process that make so much sense, and it's so in line with how we want to run our business, with integrity, with asking for permission to get in the door. And even though we're not physically in the door yet, getting a piece of our business, which is the first mail out, is one way of us getting in. It's disarming. It's them seeing a face, matching it up to the business name. So it's so simple, and it just made so much sense. Like I was even saying to Sarah, like, when can I do this weekend?
Yeah, right. And that comes from somebody who's done this job for thousands of hours. So I wanted to hear what was on your mind. What I think it did for me internally at my own company, it gave us a sense of liberation. We were freed from this slavery of trying to muscularly call people. I think the biggest fear in the business, there's not a person who's been around the business even for a short time that doesn't understand you have to make phone calls in this business. whether they're to people you don't know, whether they're to referred people that you don't know, whether they're to people you've done business with, whether you're following up with someone you already have some relationship with, doesn't matter. The money's in the phone. It just is. Okay. Because the phone work strategically sets up the ultimate in the field work, right? That's what it sets up. And it's that time that we spend on the phone that moves and fills up a pipeline and keeps a business from atrophying or being set back. But the problem is, if in your case, you're called BDAs, business development associates, right? And so you're coming in there and your job is to do new business development, which means all of them, for the most part, you don't know. So that's intimidating for the mindset. And somebody like you that has the wherewithal to get yourself up and pumped up and ready to go, you've done it for how many years now?
Oh gosh, the last office I was there 9 years doing inside sales, about 4 years now.
Okay, so that's a long time, right? So you've been in the business 9 years, 4 years, strict inside sales. That's a lot of thousands of hours. But yet, the minute you saw something and learned about permission marketing as it relates to, you can call it whatever you want, inside sales, your business development calls, telemarketing. I prefer telemarketing because I think you're simply marketing a positive message of helpful guidance. I think if you can latch on to that you are marketing, meaning I am going to display to the world what makes this business and me in this moment unique by offering through voice, telemarketing, okay? I'm going to, through voice, tell them that I have something that will help them. Now, if they were to challenge me on it and ask me what it is, if it's laid out in front of you, and this is what I was saying about being strategic, I think a lot of people just rush and they want to do it. What I like to coach and teach, lay the helpful information out on a table next to you. So for example, when I'm doing these calls in a coaching capacity about the marketing piece of it, yesterday and on the helpline on Tuesday for the mastermind members, I had the whole package laid out next to me so that I could see it, so that I understood what's in it for them, for the consumer. Thank you, Dean Miller, who came up with that yesterday. Instead of what's in it for me, it's better for the business person to say what's in it for them. So I laid it out and I saw it and I asked myself, is that truly valuable when it lands in their mail? And it is, because it's essentially what you're offering is a do-it-yourself kit. Let that sink in for a second here too, as I get you ready to really do these. In essence, this is us having the wherewithal to finally give away our best stuff for free in the most genuine, detached way. And it's a very, very tough pill for people to swallow that have been used to being successful. And Tarek and Steve, God bless them, they are so open-minded with me in spite of fighting paradigms. They are open-minded. They let me have my way with certain parts of the business, and you're it at the moment. And I love that pressure to say, I think somebody as talented as Sarah, and that's the whole staff. It's not just you, but you're going to be in this lane, right? The ability to sit there and lay this thing out and say, oh my gosh, he's right. I'm actually going to give them, which could be called a pre-listing package, but I'd rather you saw it as a DIY. If somebody really had the wherewithal to want to sell them their house by themselves, and this will happen with FSBOs when you call them, I'm going to send you something that actually we would use helping you. And if you invite us over, you're going to see that we'll probably bring a few more interpretive pieces. But what I'm about to send you is consistent with what I will explain to you. The difference being is that I'm just able to send you information. You'll have to draw your own insights in this DIY, do it yourself. You'll have to figure it out on your own a little bit, but I'm going to give you a kit, okay? A DIY kit. But if you're not the type that's going to try to do it yourself, then it would really behoove you to also allow one of our in-home experts to come and discuss how this information I'm about to send you relates to your specific situation. In other words, they will give you the personal insights you need to get your home sold, in the way that you want it, for top dollar, quick, whatever's important to you. See how that narrative now becomes very easy? Because the confidence, Sarah, to be detached from the outcome, and like I said, it's very, very hard for any, and this was hard for me, for any top producing mentality that has become transactional. Most top producers that have become very transactional in one way or another, okay? I could make a case that some people that are really good at getting referred business are less so, but they're still transactional. We really have to see that consistently and over, you can help new people, and then the ones that repeat and refer, you can help them the same way by giving away your best stuff for free. All the while knowing that 92, 93% of the population is never going to sell them their house themselves. And that of the 9%, 8%, 7%, whatever it is, nationally, internationally, that do it, it's usually an internal deal to a family member. So you cut that down by a lot too. So it is a tiny fraction of the population that DIYs. But the fact that you're willing to give away a DIY package to them, to ingratiate yourself to them, to show them that you really do care, and you're detached from your own outcome because it's about them specifically first. Don't get me wrong. We're not delusional. We're not going to save the world like this. They get it and we get it. That the next step is, after that law of reciprocity, to establish differentiation. We expect that if you do interview people, you will at least, just like that guy said, if we do go to list it, Rebecca, we will give you consideration. That's all you can win in that moment, right? And then based on his timing, consideration most likely means an appointment. So there's the thorough background in my interpretation of what you're staring at. So go ahead and ask me questions from there. Sarah?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me is just kind of organizing. Like, I have the 4 letters that will be going out. And I think for me, in the next couple of days, is lining up when to send them out, when I'm creating a task to do the follow-up 1 week call, or whether it's 2 weeks to do the second if you receive the information. So it's basically just setting up a plan for myself. That's going to be the next thing.
Okay, here's what I would say. In the beginning, it's almost like what she's referring to is the original direct mail marketing that happened here. In the beginning, I don't want you to think about the 3 follow-up letters. In fact, I wouldn't even institute those yet. I don't want to spend the money yet. I want you to try to get these people on the phone. I think after a certain point in time, when you see that they haven't relisted with anybody else, you can make a decision like Gail and Rebecca are doing. You sit with Sarah, Corey, Tarek, and Steve, and you make a decision. Should we just send the package and continue to follow up after leaving a message? You heard me talk to her about that. But you're referring to 3 follow-up letters that I referred to as the pesky salesperson. Did you get it yet? What happened? That's to provoke them to call in. Right now, I want the burden on you to get them about the package, okay? I think we take a pause on the follow-up letters. We take a pause because this is much, much, much more about you getting them on the phone, getting some recordings from me, and us hearing in Ottawa how uniquely and well-received this is. You follow?
Yeah.
Because now you're already off talking about, direct mail and all that. I'm not interested in that at the moment. It'll help at some point, but right now this is far more about you just printing. And this is why I want to slow you down, because I know you will go Mach 10 with your hair on fire once I turn you loose. Like you said, can I make them this weekend? Can I make it? I get you. Pull the reins back a little bit on your enthusiasm and just get this package printed out. I want a picture of it, and I want it laid out next to you and Sarah, Corey, and I want to see it myself. I want to slow you down to really take the beat I want you to take. Because if we get off and going and we're sending letters and all this, it feels chaotic to me already, and I don't want that. Cool?
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, good. All right, other questions. Let's go. I got about 15 more minutes here. Let's keep going. You can take me in any direction you want, any challenges. We beat that horse to death well enough. Who's up?
Danny, it's Paul.
Hi, Paul.
Do you have Autumn doing FSBOs yet?
No, but I just said to Laura the other day, turn her loose. Do we get those also from Vulcan?
I think we just have to add it.
Yeah, we have not, but I just gave the green light. So yes, because Paul, simply put, it's the same formula, identical. And
I get it. I just wanted to get any cool scripts because I don't have any.
Yeah, we do. Of course we do. Paul, come on now. The whole spreadsheet I just posted the other day, and I said I want every single one of them. Probates, FSBOs, and expireds. They're as tight as possibly can be, and they stick to the exact.
Sure.
Yep. It's on Teachable too. It's the newest prospecting formula, XMind. You can download that there. It is the latest one, including after Tony asked me about motivation. I put little snippet as an alternative in the first call for expireds, right? But I can't more highly recommend whoever makes those calls, including you, sticks to that yellow brick formula so that we have some recordings and we see how it works.
Yeah, I probably won't make them, to be honest. I have kind of a mental block against them, but there's
I did too. I did too.
A couple new agents in my office that are willing to call.
You got it. Funny you say that. Funny you say that. I had the same mental block. I don't think FSBOs like real estate agents. They don't think they can afford them. There's a lot of negative reasons they don't use us. However, having said that, that's you and me getting in the way of the business. So I'm proud of you for even saying that you will get out of the way and give them to somebody else to do, because that's the problem with us. We have our biases after all these years, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally comfortable calling expireds and sellers and buyers. I mean,
yep.
It's just something I've never called probates or FSBOs, and I have enough on my plate where I don't really need to include them myself, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, but if the business is like driven like ours is to be people for others, our goal, and Laura and I had an exciting conversation about talking to agents the same way. So if anybody here is selling the company to agents like you and we are, we're excited to implement this very exact same process that we use here, because we start off with the same concept, as you know, from the Campfire program that we give to all your agents for free. It's this idea of how can we help them too, right? Same way. Hey, you know, and it's different because you don't have a list of them that you're calling. So, you know, you put that ZipRecruiter ad up that, you know, blows the, you know, the high-pitched whistle for those people interested in that type of offer of guidance. They come in, it's the same thing. Hey, thanks so much for doing this. Right. You know, just wanted to let you know that we have some information that we'd be willing to help you, you know, send out to help you get started in this business with or without us. So here we go again. We just had this conversation. It was exciting. Right. So same formula.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah. Well, I'll talk to you more about that when we do the next expansion meeting. But Laura and I just got really excited about that because, you know, it takes us from this linear 1 seller, 2 seller, 3 seller to saying, hey, if we could help agents do the same thing at Griffin Realty Group, then, you know, they could help their 3 to 5 people a year. And that's exciting to us. So, but the way you help those agents to begin with is the same way. They're no different from a FSBO, an expired, or a probate, or a buyer for that matter. So we'll be dealing with all those the same way. Can we get you a package of information that will help you DIY? We'll give you a DIY package. And that's our new language around here, because that's the way we feel about giving away our best stuff for free. Cool? What else, Paul?
absolutely. I'll search for it on the Teachable site this afternoon.
It's under conversion, and it's the XMind. Newest prospecting formula, XMind. That's it, Paul, right there.
Okay.
Cool.
Fantastic. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. We have anybody from your team out there, like Andy or anybody that has a question?
I'm sure that some people on my team are on here. I've been texting with a couple. Speak up, guys. If some of you guys are on there.
Yeah, Danny, this is Andy.
Hi, Andy. Hi, bud.
Hey, Danny. Hey, the only question that's pressing on my mind right now is I have a situation where I have a client who is really interested in a home that is under construction right now.
Yes.
And in order to buy it, they're going to be selling their home.
Yeah.
So it's this kind of approach. The house is not, at least the plan as far as I understand, was not to offer it for pre-sale.
Yeah.
But my clients are really interested in it. And so I'm wondering, with the approach of how do we maybe get into a pre-sale conversation contingent upon the sale of their existing home?
Just have it. I think you just come through the front door. I mean, it feels like you're probably, you know, let me ask a better question before I give the advice.
Okay.
There's a worry there. You have a feeling that you could do something wrong. I can hear it loudly in your voice. What is that? What do you think you could do wrong here?
I don't know if it's so much that I'm afraid I'm going to do it wrong. It's just maybe, I don't know. I don't know if it's just coming in and saying, hey, you know, we're really interested. Here's what we're proposing.
100% it is.
And
100% it is.
You know, it would be
Yeah.
like at this price point, but it would be contingent upon the sale, and of course, that frees them up to, you know, I guess, you know, say no or.
Of course. Well, Andy,
still put it at home on the
here's what,
market,
Andy, here's what you're worried about. Hearing no. That's what you're worried about, which is normal. There's nothing wrong with that. You're just worried about hearing a no from the builder because your presumption somewhere at a subconscious level, and that's why I asked the question I asked, I can hear it loudly, is your presumption is that it will be a no. And that's a little bit of, you know, insecurity for a guy like you that's so good at negotiation. And just say, hey, look, I got clients that love this property. They'd love to be involved, but they have a house to sell. So I don't, you know how you've worked with people in the past that have a house to sell. Can you give me a little guidance? Flip the script. Ask the builder for guidance. You're trying to do business, right? What builder doesn't want a ready, willing, and able buyer? I haven't met one yet, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I would just say,
Exactly.
here's my challenge. How do we work together to get a deal done? How can I do this with you? Because I would say the majority of people have a house to sell to move into anything like
Right.
that. So it's not foreign to them. In fact, it's probably the majority of the time. So you're just going to find out what that builder's, and again, where does it become the toughest? And there's a legitimate reason that we're worried about no, a hot marketplace. That's where it's tough because the builders just, they're coming online and the marketplace is so hot. These things are going like hotcakes and, you know, that frenzied type of environment. Right. But even in that case, what I would say is you go call the builder. You say, look, I have a dilemma. These people have to sell their house in order to buy one of yours. Okay. And I know yours are going like hotcakes. Is there any way that they could put some hard money down and reserve a lot or reserve a house with you so that, you know, you felt committed? Because the worst thing that happens to you is they don't sell it or they welch on the deal. You know what I mean? So the bigger the burden your buyer brings to them, the more skin in the game the builder's likely to ask. So now you have your buyer coached up and ready for that to say, look, you know, we're not really in the catbird seat here because most of these people are coming in, they're putting hard money down. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to, you know, take some risk? I can protect you from the risk because we have a home sale contingency, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of things that we can do in the negotiation to help them. There's no doubt about it. But until you have that initial conversation, all this is theoretical. And you're worried. Yeah, Christy Lawford just posted, you know, if there's equity in the home, a bridge loan. So there's a lot of things that we can do, but I get it that you're worried about getting a no. But until you go to them and say, you know, the buyer too, so like Christy says or whomever, you know, hey guys, look, I'm going to go talk to them. But before I do, let's be prepared. You know, let's talk about how much equity you have in the house. Let's talk about you being pre-approved. And, you know, that would all be revealed with a pre-approval anyway, which is the builder's going to want to know that. Oh, great. Where's the house? Do they have equity in it? Are they pre-approved? Can they do the deal? So you want to do all your end of good buyer agency stuff first financially to make sure they do have the wherewithal to complete this transaction. Present that say, hey, look, this is a ready, willing, and able buyer. They're pre-approved. They have equity in their house. They're ready to go, but they do have to sell it first. What's the best way to deal with that? And then take their guidance.
Right. And okay, so does the time frame play? How much does the time frame play into this? That the home will not be built completed until, let's say, late spring, and that's when we want to put the home on the market anyway.
Okay.
So I mean, approaching them. Like in, you know, we wouldn't be able to approach them until like January or something like that. But to say, hey, we're talking, you know, obviously late spring for both deals here.
Again,
is it too early to go in and say that? Or
absolutely not. Not a chance. You'll be late. You'll be late. You'll be late. This guy's going to deliver in the spring. You'll be late. Spring's around the corner. You sneeze, it'll be March, right?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly. You'd be late. You might even be late now. I mean, you get off the phone with me today, you better be calling that guy, having a conversation immediately, and going back and making sure that, you know, your buyer is all set up and ready to go, you know, financially.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, immediately. I think you're late. Have you ever had any experience with new construction yet in your career?
Yes, I have sold one house that was new construction.
Okay. No house to sell, I presume?
No,
Okay.
there was no house.
Yeah. So you're sort of, you're sort of up in your head grappling with this, where the right thing is to just fall right into the conversation. Say, look, I'm getting these people pre-approved. They're ready to go. They'd have to sell a house, but they'd love one of yours. Have they seen the houses that he builds?
Yeah, actually, the situation is it's a lot where they raised the existing home and they put up 3 smaller, new modern construction homes, but then they're putting a larger one on the lot as well. And the clients have toured the smaller ones and seen the quality of construction and design, stuff like that. And they really like it, but they want the bigger one.
Who did they tour the properties with?
Me.
Okay. Who did you speak to over there?
I spoke with the co-listing agent who happens to work for the builder.
Okay. Did they follow up with you? Stay with me quickly. Let's move through this quickly because I don't want to get up in the head stuff.
Yes, I have been in constant communication with her, asking questions, getting answers.
What is she asking you? What is she asking you?
She's not asking me anything.
Okay. So now immediately get off with me. Call her. Don't email her. Don't text her. Call her. Say, look, these people are definitely interested. Okay. So thanks for answering all my questions. They have a house to sell. What's the best way to deal with that? Period. Just ask.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the big white elephant in the room, 2 things. Number 1, you're taking too long. You need to put some earnest money down and tie something up, I would guess, to reserve the property, or somebody else like you who's sniffing around is going to go. And you know what the builder's going to do? They're going to take the best deal as soon as they have it. So if you wait for competition, you'll be on the outside looking in. So move.
Well, I want to get drawings first. I mean, I have the schematics, but I don't have the CAD drawings. See, proposed, look. I'm waiting on those.
That's fine, but that's a timeline for the logistics of what it is. Nobody's going to buy it without that. But what's that got to do with the home sale? So they're definitely presuming the schematics come in the way they believe they will come in, based on what you say you've already built, that we've toured, and that what you're going to put on here. Presuming it's consistent, then they're going to be very interested, and they have a house to sell. So what's the best way to deal with that? How have you guys dealt with that in the past? Right? Because I could just put a home sale contingency and make an offer now.
Hey, Danny.
Yep. Go ahead, Tommy. Tommy, go ahead.
Hey, I just wanted to weigh in here. I got a custom builder I do a lot with.
Yep.
And we have this happen quite often, but I'm just going to give him a little bit, maybe some advice, because he's only done one before.
Sure. Go ahead. Fire away, bud.
And not sure about his contract, but there should be something on a new construction build job on the contract that it's contingent upon the final approval, the final plan. So they could tie it up and plan on putting probably $5,000-$10,000 non-refundable earnest money down to tie the lot up. But it's contingent upon that final approval of the final plan. So if they get down the road and they're not happy with the plan, that is one of their outs. But I'm with Danny. If you keep waiting, if you're in a hot market, you're going to run out of lots, and your buyers are not going to be able to get anything. But
you're done. Yeah, you're done.
Well, all right. Thank you very much for that input. I appreciate that.
Good. Yeah, and Andy, if you want to, that's Tom Turner.
You can always call me after we get off here, and I can kind of maybe help walk you through some of it.
There you go.
Okay.
Andy, Tom Turner. That's Tom Turner. So in the Facebook group, just tag him there, private message him, and hook up with him, because I would get the language there, and I would also find out. I don't know who Cantu Group uses for an attorney, but you definitely want an attorney who's familiar with this sort of thing. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, gang. Listen. Fabulous call. As usual, you're all great when you bring me the real stuff and we can deal with it. Then we go from theory to actuality. Execute this stuff in the field and you'll be very happy, because you'll be building a business instead of just trying to do it on muscle. And you know how I feel about that. Doesn't work. I'm sick and tired of doing it in my career. So I changed 7 years ago, and it's starting to pay off really nicely. And we just feel better about what we do every day. Take care of people out there. You'll be surprised at how it comes back to you so quickly. And it's the best business we've ever done. So follow this stuff, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. All right. We'll see you on the other side. Have a fabulous weekend, everybody. Thanks for being here and participating. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Danny.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.